Hey everyone, it's Lane with Tim's Nation. I am here today to talk to you a little bit about the DeathGuard list I'm taking into DJ's World Eaters today. We've got it's an auspicious day. It is a grand day. We have a debut for the channel. It is Mortarian. Listen, I know a lot of DeathGuard players who love Mortarian. I've just never had him before, and then maybe 6 months or so ago, I picked him up with some store credit from a tournament. I built him and then just didn't paint him. When it comes to painting things, I'm very moody, I guess. It just depends on whether I feel the inspiration to paint something, and I just didn't have any desire to paint Mortarian up until that point. And then, of course, recently with the most recent points update, he went down in points some more. So I figured it's finally time for me to play Mortarian. So I got some paint on him. Use contrast just like the rest of my DeathGuard army. We got him ready to get on the board here. If you are a DeathGuard player and you use Morty, please leave me some comments on how you use him, because he's kind of a weird thing. And then I don't think his buffs are that amazing. I don't think his individual damage output is amazing. His durability is really good. I'm not really sure how to use him, like what to keep around him. So I'm probably just going to shove him up the board with a bunch of Plague Marines around him and Death Shroud Terminators around him, and they're just going to go and fight things. So I'm eager for input on how you play him, what you pair him with, what you keep around him to be in his auras. Very interested to hear how you guys use that, because obviously he has some strong auras, but like what units are the best to use? I haven't used them before, so I don't really know what's best to pair with him. So today we'll go through the list here, then talk about how we're going to use him, how we're going to play him in the game. But here we are, 2,000 points of DeathGuard. All right, I lied. I said 1995 points, or I said 2,000 points, but it's actually 1995. My apologies. We're going to start off. So I was building this list, and I wasn't sure how to fill everything out, and I saw I had a bunch of characters, so I decided, you know what, we're going to steer into the curve, and I went with it. So this DeathGuard list has 10 characters. I'm not saying that's the most optimal competitive way to play this list, but I do have 865 points worth of characters in this DeathGuard list. So we, of course, have the big boy himself, Mortarian. I don't like this will be the first time I've ever played with Morty, so it's all going to be new to me. He's a big boy. He's toughness 12, 2 up armor, 4 up invuln, and of course he has a 5 up feel no pain, making him very durable. In addition to that, he's got a 10-inch move, so he moves pretty well, so he can get around the table and to give off those auras and buffs. He pick one of these 3 abilities to use. At the start of the battle round, I have to pick one of these abilities. So the 3 abilities, one is Miasma of Pestilence, where it gives everything within 6 inches of him cover against range attacks. A lot of stuff already gets cover, so I probably won't be choosing this one very often. The next one, also I'm playing against World Eaters, so I'm not really worried about the shooting. The next one, Diseased Influence. Anytime a DeathGuard unit within 6 inches of Morty makes an attack, you can reroll a wound roll of 1. This is probably what we're going to go with most of the time. Third one is Toxic Presence. Anytime a unit is within 12 inches of Morty, they add 3 to their contagion range. My DeathGuard army is not a very shooty army, so I'm not really worried about extending my contagion range too much. So for the most part in this game, we're just going to be sticking with the rerolls to 1, rerolls of 1 to wound for all friendly DeathGuard within 6 inches. And then, of course, he has another aura that's just there all the time, which is that all DeathGuard units within 6 inches of him ignore any or all modifiers to their characteristics and to any roll or test made for them, excluding their saving throws. So this will be good. I think DJ has a Demon Prince that has an enhancement that lets him have damage. So basically, we'll be able to shut that down. I don't know what else this will be effective for in the game. We'll see. We'll see how much it comes up. But yeah, that's Morty. He's got a little bit of shooting because he has his goofy pistol, the Lantern. It's 1 shot, but sustained D3 for some reason. And then he does have a psychic attack, D6 plus 3 attacks blast. It's only 1 damage, though, so it's not going to do a whole lot of output. And then in melee, we've got some fun here. He has a strike profile. It's 5 attacks, strength 14, AP 3, 4 damage. cool, some big bonks. And his sweep is 15 attacks at 1 damage. So if I get into some of those cultists, we'll be able to just see how well that sweep can cook. So that's Morty. Like I said, first time ever playing with him. So I appreciate the feedback and any advice you have for how to play them. Next, we have 9 more characters. Here we go. Of course, we're running 2 Plague Marine bricks, so we've got 2 Biologist Putrefiers. These guys give me the lethal hits, and let me do the grenade strat for free. The lethal hits proc on 5s. And then we have 2 Foul Blight Spawns. These give these units fight first, and he's got a pretty decent flamer that can do a lot of damage as well. Then we do have, I'm running, this is the only proxy we've got today. I've got a Tallyman. He's a Plague Surgeon model, Nauseous Rotbone, the Plague Surgeon. I'm using him as a Tallyman. So he's a Tallyman. He's going to be with a 5-man Plague Marine squad to hold my home field objective and just hopefully give me a few command points during the game. Then we do have Typhus. Typhus is probably going to be running solo today out there just so he can drop in, maybe kick out a few mortals and do some actions. We also have a Lord of Virulence, another Terminator character. He lets his unit reroll wound rolls when they make ranged attacks. Especially good for when he's leading Death Shroud Terminators with their flamers. And then we have 2 of the DeathGuard Sorcerers in Terminator armor. These guys are good for leading Death Shroud Terminators because at the start of the fight phase, they can roll d6 on a 2-up. Their unit reduces damage by 1, which is pretty strong on Death Shrouds. And then they also have a decent psychic attack that once per game can supercharge and hit really hard. So yeah, 10 characters. I surely hope the DJ does not choose to take Assassinate today. Next, for Battle Line, we have 2 10-man bricks of Plague Marines. These have these 2 10-mans are the same. They've got 4 Bubonic weapons and 4 heavy plague weapons, plus another heavy plague weapon on the Sergeant, the Champion, and then a Plague Spear on there. And then we do have a 5-man. This one's equipped with more shooty stuff. A Blight Launcher, a Plasma Gun, and another Plague Spewer. These guys are just going to be back there holding the home field objective. We got 2 DeathGuard Rhinos. These are great for delivering those Plague Marines right up close so they can do some damage. Then we've got 2 6-man bricks of Death Shroud Terminators. I have no idea, guys. Don't ask me why the Death Shroud Terminators went down in points. They were good to begin with. Now at 110 points for 3, 220 for a brick of 6, they're just really good. Of course, we're going to be using them. They neg 1 to wound when they're led by a character, which is super strong, but they're already at T6. And they've got decent Plague Spewers on them that are anti-infantry 4-ups. So they can kick out some damage that way. And then to cap it all off, we've got 1 Fetid Bloat Drone with the Flesh Mower on it. That's the list. So yeah, 10 characters. Just daring DJ to take Assassinate into me today. And with World Leaders, he's got some other decent choices for fixed secondaries if he decides to do that. But I'm not really worried about that. This is our Halloween episode, a day or 2 after Halloween. And like I said, I was building this list. I had Morty in there, had a bunch of characters. Decided, what we just need is more characters to get us up to a nice round 10. But the nice thing is that DeathGuard characters are super strong. They're all really good. And all this really does is gives me some extra Terminator characters that I can either attach to the Death Shroud, or I can have them run solo. And solo Terminator characters still deep strike, so they can still get in there and score some secondaries and score some primaries, that sort of thing. So it's still handy to have. I'm not 100% sure on what the matchup is going to be, what I'm going to pair with the Death Shrouds or not, but it's probably going to be the Sorcerers just because their damage reduction in combat is going to be super strong. So as far as how I plan to play everything, my secret plan today is to just push everything forward and try to fight the World Eaters. That's it. That's it. If you came here for, high-level competitive strategies, that's not it today. We're just going to smash the models together and fight real hard. DeathGuard are great at this. World Leaders are great at this. We'll see who's greater today. So follow me over to the battle report. Let's see how they do today.